doing a great job. You're doing a lot of great things. I mean, since I've known you, I've been following you and your career and fatherhood and getting to know your son and, getting to know the things that you want to accomplish as an entrepreneur and just in life, man. And I just think you're on the right path, and I really appreciate what you're doing, man. Keep it up, man.
Appreciate you, brother. It means a lot.
Thing that you're doing. Then I can never talk about a journey without one, thanking, my family, my friends, coaches, mentors, folks that I even just crossed paths with and just share some nuggets and some knowledge. The older people who I just sit down and just listen to that been there, done that. And then always, man, my kids, because my journey as a father started off really, really fast and really quick.
Right.
And a lot of what I've done may look good on the outside to most, but came as a sacrifice to my kids in certain aspects of not being able to be there for certain events or not being able to provide full fathership in some moments. And when they say that whatever level of success that you want comes with a price, it definitely comes with a price. And sometimes it comes with that price of your kids. But, I always kind of let them know that I'm always doing it for them. I was blessed to have all my kids living with me in one household. So at least I can come at home and see them at night. And the sacrifice and them allowing me to do it, them not going off and being wild childs and menace to societies and adding that extra burden, being real, real good kids, man, has allowed me to do that. So I always shoot them out as a special shout out because they're special to my heart. And when I thank everyone, it's so many people that's been in my life that if I sat here and tried to name everybody, I'll forget somebody and then somebody get mad. So, I always ask that when I give my shout out, please clump yourself in the proper spot and don't rely on me to remember everyone's name on the spot because I did play football, so half my life I bashed my brains in. So I'm never gonna be the one to say that I remember it all, man. Shoot, pieces of the childhood is even gone on that football field, man. But yeah, man, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Let's get started, man. Let's get on. Let's get to the reason why we're here.
Man, I think one of the things that you have been doing has been you've been talking about your process to the wins, and be it where it starts to where even now where you've been talking about it, man. You've mentioned your kids, you mentioned football, you mentioned just being, obviously you are a mentor to a lot of people, and I've seen that personally. At the same time, you've also been a role model to even adults, whether it be women or men across the board, right? With that, man, I think I'm more so geared of wanting to know what is it that keeps you inspired to want to keep going, man? Because I know you got a lot on your plate, but you just get it done. You know what I mean?
So we can just start from the journey, man. I can just
give it to me, man.
My journey kind of led me to where I'm at. And from the very beginning, a big, huge shout out to Oakland, California, right?
Okay, Oak Town.
Oakland, California has raised me and blessed me to be where I'm at. There's so many things you got to navigate through Oakland, whether it's drug dealing, whether it's prostitution, whether it's scamming, whether it's street stuff. But then on the flip side, it shows you how to navigate through that stuff, right? It teaches you how to identify who they are. and it gives you that courage to speak for yourself and become your own man if you can make it through that. But then on the outside of it, what it does also give you the light at the end of the tunnel is just letting you know as you go through this jungle, this forest, man, on the other end, there's so many opportunities in the Bay Area, man. There's so many opportunities to win. There's so many opportunities to become who you want to become. So many opportunities to touch who you want to touch. but I'm very much grateful for it because if you notice, a lot of the cats that come out of Oakland, they all have the similar makeup, right? We love the kids. We give back to our own community. We love our community for what it done for us, and we want to give back to that. And we the level of success isn't counted on what you want it to be. It's about where we want to go and how we want to be able to get to where we want to be in life, and it gives you that opportunity. And so, Oakland, California, man, has done a huge part in my life, and I just want to be at the end of it all, man. Just want to be someone who's known for someone who tried his hardest to give back and make an impact for his community. Yeah. I've always had that mindset. When I was 10 years old, my grandmother told me, we stayed across the street from a warehouse. And my grandma told me when I got older, she said, baby, when you was 10 years old, you looked at that warehouse and said, I'm going to buy that warehouse and I'm going to take all the kids in Oakland and raise them in that warehouse. Right? Right. And most people's dreams are, I want to play football. I want to play sports. I want to go play pro. But my dream has always been to serve my community for whatever reason, right? Oh. And so through that, I had the opportunity to be introduced to a lot of people who looked at my father, looked at people that's in my family, and take me under their wing and kind of guide me in the right direction to give me that leadership mindset, right? Right. I'm never going to say that things are always good. I wasn't the greatest student. I wasn't the straightforward kind of guy. Everyone finds themselves going left sometimes, and then it's the ones who figure that out before it gets too deep, right, and figure out how to navigate back to that right path. And so at an early age, man, I was a father at 17 years old. I had my first son at 17, and then 10 months later, I had my other son back to back. So through my childhood, I had to be a father pretty quick and figure things out. On the flip side, I don't want to discount the fact that I grew up with my great-great-grandmother, my great-grandmother, and my grandmother. Wow. My aunties, my father has 11 kids by 11 different women. So Papa was a Rolling Stone. Mom had me at 16. My dad was 19. Mm-hmm. So anything that they were not able to provide or not able to do, although it filled me in the beginning, any person who is young growing up and don't really see their father in the household, your father becomes the folks in the streets who can easily manipulate you at a young age. Yeah. I grew up with a lot of testosterone, right? A lot of anger towards my parents because it was like, damn, I'm here and I got to figure it out on my own. And my grandmother was the old school granny who gave you what you needed, but not what you wanted. Mm. And growing up wanting a lot of things, it make you do a lot of things that you not necessarily become proud of in the future. But for me, I tend to look at things where I don't feel like I'm ever not proud of them. I'm grateful for them because it molded me to who I am today. Because without those things, I wouldn't have the knowledge or the wherewithal to navigate through life as it stands right now. Right. So that's where a lot of the sacrifice came, being a father at 17 years old, having those conversations with your kid's mom with you playing football, right? At this time in high school, I think I became speedy. I became like famous or hood famous or notable like overnight, right? So right. I don't play youth football at a young age. I try out for a team. They cut me because I'm going behind the backstop of the bleachers at Kirk Flood, right? I'm at the backstop. I'm hiding when everybody do their laps, and then coming out after the 10th lap talking about I'm done, coach, right? So they eventually cut me, right?
Right.
So they cut me. So, you know, I'm a big dude. I'm not playing no football. They want me to wear this trash bag over my body all day.
Right.
Yeah, lose weight. I'm like, man, I'm not doing that, right? So I get cut. They call Pops like, man, I just really cut him because I wanted him to learn a lesson. But I'm like, man, I ain't like, but we want him on the team. I'm like, man, I ain't playing for nobody who cut me, right? So I go back. I don't even play football again until I get to high school. My uncles were actually the coaches of Oakland Tech, where I went to high school. Okay. And my family was big on forcing you to do what you got to do. Like, it was not you're playing sports, right? We're playing football, and that's no ifs, ands, or buts, right? So when I finally was like, man, I kind of like this, because it was a moment where I hit somebody, right? And when I hit him, it just felt like all of my disappointment, all of my stress from not having, you know, constant parents at home or wanting my parents at home, feeling abandoned in some kind of ways, dealing with girlfriends or whatever. Like, as soon as I hit them, it just went away, right? And I was like, wait a minute. I can get used to this, right?
I like
this, right?
Right.
And so, man, I became good overnight. I had one game against Fremont. I scored like 4 touchdowns and had like 150 yards rushing. Really didn't play running back prior before that. I had to sneak and play running back when the head coach, Delton Edwards, my uncle, he left because he was sick or he had a day off. And my other uncle, Phil, Verdell Larkins, I'm like, Phil, let me run the ball. I run the ball, boom, 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 run through people, score a touchdown. He like, do it again. Do the same exact thing, right? Ball that practice. The next practice, he like, man, Lamont can play running back, man. Put him at running back. Up until then, I was just a dude that's on the team, right?
Right.
And, of course, when the coach come, I do nothing, right? I get tackled in the backfield. I don't break a tackle. I don't get no yard. Right. It's just like, man, he can't play running back. Right. And so Phil kind of like breathed life into him, was like, believe in him. And that next game, that following week, we was in the playoffs versus Fremont, and I just balled out. And then from there, you know, everybody, oh, Lamont, woo. You go from the fat kid to the buff kid because you lift in weights now.
Boys now,
you got straps. Got a little stoutness to you. And man, I can honestly say, man, I think I got lost in it, right? I got excited. I was a fat kid who couldn't get the pretty girl that I really wanted, to now the pretty girl that I wanted, plus her friend, plus her cousin, plus somebody else was asking about me. So, you know, I end up having a baby young. Never, I won't regret it for anything in the world, but it forced me to kind of sit back and be like, what are you doing? Right. You get these pivotal moments in your life where you get these pivotal moments where it's like, what are you doing? Right. And so I had that sit down moment, and I had a conversation with my boy's mom at the time, because I had 2 boys back to back. And I was like, I want to play football and I want to do this. Right. So my family rallied behind me. You know, she rallied behind me in terms of like being there to make sure the kids is good when I'm at school. Mm-hmm. And I was blessed enough to have opportunities to obtain scholarships. Mm-hmm. But the one thing that I lacked was the academic component, right? The academic knowledge of knowing what to do. And I say that and I bring that up because a lot of that is the reason why I do and am who I am, because I got Oregon, I got all the Pac-12 schools, Georgia, I got all these schools, Utah, Washington State, all these schools coming for me. And I don't realize that I can't take none of my scholarships because I never took Spanish or foreign language ever.
Man.
So I get to a highlight of my career, and here it is. I got to go play JC football when I had all this money sitting on the table. Lost opportunity, right? Lost opportunity, not because it was on purpose. It was just because at the time it wasn't the thing. It was like sports is to keep you out the streets.
Right.
You went to college by default because you did the right things in school that happened to lead you into getting a diploma, which ultimately allowed you to get into these schools. So it wasn't as hot as it is now, where now it's on social media. Everybody know these D1 schools, man. I was so oblivious, bro. I was so oblivious to college, man. I lived in North Oakland, and I did not know that Kyle Berkeley was in Berkeley. Right? I didn't know that it was right down the street from my house. And I used to go to the underground where it was like a bowling alley arcade. I never knew, right? And that right there was like, I will never let a kid in my neighborhood be in a position to take care of some money, take care of his family, get his highlight that he want to achieve in life, and lose out because he just didn't know. Right. And so when I changed my thought process of that kind of was like the baseline of why I do everything I do. Right.
You know, one thing I'll say to you, man, is I appreciate that you're able to navigate through life and then be able to collectively come to the place where you're like, you know what, this is what I want to do, even already having the kids, right? And then making that conscious choice to say, hey, look, this is what I want to do. This is how I'm going to do it. Have the support backing you, but also it's almost like you already at 17 knew the direction that you wanted to go into, be it football, staying out the streets, etc., but knowing that you were good, right? But I think one of the things that I'm so fascinated about is that you were able to do it having the great-grandma, the great-great-grandma, the grandma, right? When growing up these days, you don't have 3 generations in your home. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like 3 generations in your home that are women that have your back to do something like football when you got 2 kids. You feel me? Like, you would think one of the generations would be like, you need to take your butt to work. Like, you know what I'm saying?
And that's the reality of today, right? The reality of today is you got kids, go to work.
Right.
Your dream is over, right?
It's over. It's a wrap.
It's over.
Right.
It's a wrap.
Yeah.
And we didn't grow up with much, you know, but we had enough for us. You know, I was a school district baby. My mom, or my grandmother, she worked for Oakland Unified School District in many different sectors of Oakland Unified School District. And we just was a district baby. So, you know, one of the things that I always wanted to never do, and whatever I did, was embarrass my grandma. Right? So that's the one thing I never wanted to do. So even when I was in the streets, I said, man, I can't embarrass my grandma.
Right.
So my critical thinking of, if I do this, what's the worst possible outcome? And if I can live with that, I'll do it. If I can't, then I just got to fade off. That kind of came from just never wanting to embarrass my family. You know, my dad instilled in me, your name is everything. We carry the Robinson name. Like, you would think the Robinson name is the highest pinnacle of the world, the way we carry it. And so be it. You represent your lineage when you carry that last name. And so I took that to heart and always wanted to make sure I made the Robinson name proud. So, you know, I just always consciously thought about that. But, you know, and even with that, fast forward and going to college, you know, attending Laney College, right? That disappointment of, you got all this money on the table. When I say money, I mean the hundreds of thousands of dollars that these universities will invest in you to come to their school, be it play football. But
Right.
you know, it's a free scholarship and you must take advantage of that opportunity the best way you know how. Right. So I got this money on the table and I'm sitting here in my room disappointed that I'm going to Laney. And of course, my first year, I just completely go back to my 9th grade year and bomb it, right?
Okay.
And my grandma come to me one day and say, "Look, you play at 5:00, 4:00 in the afternoon. I'm not taking off to work to see you sitting on no bench, to see you sitting on the sideline soaking and not doing what you do. So either you gonna do this and get back to where you supposed to be, or you're gonna have to just either be doing this by yourself and I'm not gonna be doing it with you." So
right.
You know, so I got on my stuff, right? I got on my stuff. I was able to have a good year and able to get my scholarship back for some of the schools that I had. And because I was in the Bay Area with kids and I felt it was important for my kids to be able to come see me play, I took a scholarship at San Jose State.
Hey, okay. The WAC at the time.
Yeah. But current Mountain West champions.
Current Mountain West champions. Yeah, but
WAC at the time.
University of Nevada, Reno, the WAC.
Right.
We beat you guys.
It was over there. They're actually bringing the WAC back too.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
So was able to go there. You know, was able to go to San Jose State, and whenever I talk about my journey, I know as a kid out there that I'll be doing a disservice if I made this point about academics. I couldn't read until my second year of junior college. Mind you, I couldn't read until my second year of junior college. Never took it as important as hands-on things that was going on, like football, being able to talk my way through things, right? Not being able to read, teach you how to talk real well, right? Because you don't want to get caught up in a situation where, you know, you can't navigate through it, right? I mean, I was a kid who, when we used to have the paragraphs at school, I used to pre-read them before, when I would count the students, pre-read it before. And if she switched it up on me, I had to go to the bathroom. Right? I had to go to the bathroom. You switched up this whole paragraph, Teach. I got to go to the bathroom.
It ain't my turn.
It ain't my turn. No. You gave me my paragraph.
Right.
Yeah. Right. You know, and I just kind of took it as a challenge, like either I'm going to continue to do that or I'm going to get better, right? So this young lady at Laney kind of challenged me, and we went in the room and we worked on it. We just worked on it. And I began to, you know, learn to love gaining knowledge and being able to read and bettering myself, right? It wasn't even more about learning how to read. It was about bettering yourself, because if I have an opportunity and I'm not able to take advantage of it because I can't read it, or I'm in the middle of a platform where I got to public speak and articulate myself and I can't do it, I'm losing opportunities, right? And how can I get to the highest pinnacle where I want to go and I'm passing over opportunities? And so even up until years ago, like I never really liked talking. Like I'm not a real big talker, right? I just really move, right? I don't really do many interviews, or I don't really do a lot of public speaking, but I feel like when it's necessary that, you know, it's necessary to give my piece, that I really would be doing someone a disservice if I didn't, right? And I think that this is a perfect platform for that to be spoken. And so when someone look at this, I'm really talking to that kid who can do it, but mentally, you know, it's feeling like, dang, I can't do it. I can't read. Like, no, don't feel that way. Like I felt that way, and it can be a dark place, but the light at the end of the tunnel is, if I can do it with 3 kids, you know, being able to go to college, you know, being able to navigate through the high school stuff and all the stuff that was going on, that you can do it. So I don't want that to be remiss as we move forward in my journey.
Right.
Because I was the kid who had to beg my mom not to be in the special resource class. I walked in the class, and it was a special resource class for people who was cat in the hat, right? And I'm like, Mama, all my friends in the other classroom. She like, look, if you can keep a B or better in your classes, I think it was B or better in your classes, I'll take you out.
Right.
And at that moment, I was like, I'm not failing, right?
I
didn't maintain a B or better in all my classes, but I rarely failed a class after that, right? Because I wasn't going back to cat in the hat.
Yeah, we want to the embarrassment. Nah.
But the one thing that football afforded me was the opportunity to be able to have those resources, right?
Mm-hmm.
Take advantage of the opportunities of my athleticism to navigate me into places that I wouldn't have probably known about or gotten to anywhere else, right? And be around some good people, some good people. I say that, some good people, because everybody in this sports world ain't good for you. But being around some good people who those relationships later on became pivotal, in my growth. And whenever I think of how I want to lead my life, I always take it from bits and pieces of everybody who touched me. I mean, everybody who I come across. I'm an advocate of copy and paste, right? I'm gonna copy it and I'm gonna paste it, right? And I'm definitely gonna copy and paste, things in life and put it in my tool belt, right?
Right.
And so you get to college, you become good, and you have these letters to go to the draft, and you have these letters to go to this Indianapolis combine that I never heard about in my life, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have these, and then your head coach resigns and leave you. And pro day is to be ran by GAs and interns, right? So now, Coach Carter, who was a great mentor and a friend and a big brother, I didn't know nothing about training. So he took me under his wing and trained me, cut my body down, because he was known in the Bay Area for not only just a great man, a great recruiter, or, a great coach, but he knew how to navigate, right? He knew how to he gets you right in all aspects. So, he trained me for love. There wasn't no money involved. He trained me for love, got me down. I was able to, do the combine. I was able to, get the fastest I ever ran in my life. I ran a 4.5. I was like,
okay,
hey, right. Like,
the heck?
Okay. And then I was able to go to the 49er camp, but it didn't really stick, right? It didn't stick. Football didn't really stick for me. Most people say, well, why you didn't play football? I said, no, football don't play you. You don't never lead. You'll never lead the game. The game leads you.
Right.
The game leads you. But honestly, out of all the years I played football, I've never been more relieved when I think about it when I stopped playing or when they told me no.
Okay.
Right? Because I realized that it wasn't really my dream. It was just my opportunity. And even if I did go to the league, it was only an opportunity to take care of my family on a different platform.
Exactly.
I never really looked at football as something that I must do. I'm what Oakland teach you is, okay, you good at this, you love it. Don't get me wrong, I love football. I would never disrespect it or never disrespect the folks that paved the way for us to even get to be able to play the game. But I also knew that it was a business, and that I knew that everything was a business move. Even going to college, it's a business move. Like, you using me for my athleticism, I'm gonna use you for this degree.
Exactly.
You go to the league, you're gonna use me for getting you billions. I'm gonna take these millions. You know what I mean? I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna get it what it is, right?
All right.
And so And there's no shame in that, right? But now it's that 18 to 22-year-old kid who in college, now I'm 22, done, and you got 3 kids, football over, college is over.
Reality.
and now you sent back into reality. But after 20 years of having someone telling you what time you need to work out, what time you need to be here, what the class you need to take, what food you need to eat. Yeah. Now you just kind of threw outside and you like, all right, do you. See you later.
Right. We're done.
We're done. Right. And so that built the character of a lot. That built all my character because it was like being a teenager again, right? Like,
right.
You go back from, most people don't understand that when you play sports, having all those things aligned to you don't allow you to think for yourself, don't allow you to prepare for yourself. You just plan the next day, right? I'm going to school. Right. I'm getting there. I got a goal in mind is to make it here. But when you don't make it there, you don't realize at this time, right now, it's more of a conversation beyond the game. But back then, if you didn't play football, you was going back to the streets.
The streets, yeah.
Trying to hustle, right?
That grind,
So of course, what I do after college, I go back to the streets, right? I go back to the streets and I get that pivotal moment again of what are you doing?
Right.
Right. What are you doing? Right. And when I get to that moment, I link up with my brothers, Treston George and Dwayne Akins.
Hey.
And I say, look, man, we looked at each other and me and Treston was like, look, we want to develop sports in the community, but not just sports. We want to develop an organization that help kids navigate the way that we had to navigate, but in a safe space, right?
Right.
Somewhere for you to go and be able to say, I got trouble. Lamont, can you help me? Because what happened all too often is our kids have trouble and they go to somebody who is blind as well, right? The blind leading the blind. And the first thing they say is, man, go sell this dope, go here, go this gun, let's go rob this other brother for what he got. Forget all that going to work, right?
Right.
And so we sat down and we thought about, we wanted that. And then I linked up, and I was always anti-social media. I never had a MySpace. I never had a Facebook. And then one day I was just sitting in the house. I'm like, man, let me go see where my friends at, right? So I get on Facebook, and immediately after I make my post, my profile, Dwayne hits me. Bro, where you been? I haven't seen you. I seen Dwayne one time after high school in New Orleans in the Bayou Classic.
Wow.
No, Battle of the Bands. It was the Battle of the Bands.
Ooh.
And we was walking through.
Okay.
We was walking through Bourbon Street, our French Quarters. We was out there, and I think I seen him on Bourbon Street, and man, what you doing, man? He was at Xavier. We chopped it up, disappeared, right? But he like, bro, I didn't know where you was at. I know you was on the side of the earth. You was doing whatever. Man, I had people hitting me on Facebook talking about, man, I didn't even think you was still alive. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, you know I was dead.
Right. Damn. Right. So I'm like, man, what you doing? He like, man, I got this this educational program, after school program at Reach Academy that I'm running. I said, man, let's meet. Me, him, and Treston met in 2009, end of 2009, about to be 2010. We had about an hour conversation. We was at, I think it was not Leeds. It was one of them downtown bars. I think it was 2120. So it was like right there, downtown Oakland. We met at a bar. We began talking about our ideas. And an hour later, we said, we need to make an organization together. He was tired of working in the after school program. I was anti-work for anybody, right? I just grew up with, that I don't ever want to work for nobody, right?
Right.
I don't want to work for nobody. And sometimes that can be good, where it makes you, start your own business. And sometimes that can be bad, where you start your own, drug empire or negative things in the streets, right?
Right.
I'm gonna say blessed, but I was blessed to be able to do both, right? So I'm like, man, look, I got to get out these streets, and this is what we want to do. So we put it together, and an hour later, we came up with a name called "We Lead Ours in the Right Direction." And you remember when I said you can go left or you can go right, right? And the reason why we came up with the slogan "In the Right Direction" is because we always understood that we need to lead ours in the right direction, because a lot of us is going left and not making it back. And even if we go left and you go too deep, that curve to get back onto that apex and that right path, sometimes you don't make it up out of there. And then when you do make it out of there, you got so much stuff on your record. You done been shot. You done made so many bad relationships, or you just did so much negative stuff that when you get good, that be the times where the negative creep back on you and you never make it, right?
Right.
So we was like, we lead ours in the right direction. We left. We met with who we call the mother of Wheelo, right? Her name is Ethel Polk. Okay. So it's my grandmother's best friend. We met Ethel Polk with a mission to save, again, right, all of the kids in Oakland. That was our mission, right? Our mission was to save every kid in Oakland. We walked in there with this very ambitious goal, and within this goal, she said, I need y'all to leave my house, go home, and write me an essay on why you want to start this nonprofit. Like,
what?
What you mean?
We spent an hour thinking about this already. We ready.
Right, man. Right. We trying to save the world. You talking about write an essay, right?
Like, can you get today? Like,
today, man. So we went home. We wrote the essay. We came back and she said, now you ready, right? She gave us a focus. She like, I know you want to save the world, but you got to focus. You got to centralize it and grow, right? So we focus on middle school because that's where we felt like middle school is a place where your mind is still a sponge and you can be easily transformed into whatever good or bad, right? So we decided also that if we start with sports, we'll never be able to educate, right? Okay. Because if you start with sports, then you become this sports entity that all people want from you is sports.
Right.
So we decided to go the academic route and put the sports on the back burner because we realized that academics is a number one component to success because all of us was athletes, but we had to fall back on our academics to get to where we at this point. So we had a $700 donation. We started a summer camp. And from that summer camp, 11 years later, we still going, right? And Wheelo is still going. And from the birth of Wheelo, we are able to touch so many different families, right? We started off from just 15, 20 kids to touching over 1,700 kids a year in just our program alone. And so by no means that was easy, right? You got three fake entrepreneurs thinking we ain't never working for nobody. Dwayne quits his job. Treston's still playing football in Canada. We like, man, we know what we doing. So, I always say, even though it is negative, I never want to speed bump over the fact that, it was a lot of downtime. At one point, me, Treston, and Dwayne was sharing a check that was $3,000 for every 3 months, right?
Oh my gosh.
So we made $1,000 every 3 months because we had the vision of starting this organization. And I'm going home to 3 kids, right? At this time, I'm with my daughter mom, and she's like, hey,
we need some cheese.
We need some money, right?
What a cheeseburger at? Like,
where it's at. And so I'm just here, man, just take it. But, she believed in us, and she just believed in, the things that I was doing and was supporting me, and family supporting me, and, the people that I spoke of in the beginning just supported me, and we was able to continue pushing. And, eventually we was able to get contracts where it went from us 3 to we started getting so much capacity that we had to start hiring people, right? Now we like, dang, we need to employ people, but it's a part of our mission, right? Our mission was to give to youth, but Dwayne came up with this crazy idea of we got to save these adults too, right? He he called it the second chance pro. It was like the second chance program, or something, the new chance program or something like that, right? And so now that mission was to employ adults so that they can provide for their families.
Oh wow!
Right, and so we started developing opportunities to be able to share money where for other people to be able to get a job. We wasn't a career, but you can get a job and be able to provide for your family, be able to support your family in this short period of time while you figuring it out and getting yourself together, and not having to rely on, government assistance or, things like that. You're able to put food on your table.
Right.
And so now, over the, through the peaks and the valleys, which is a whole nother story in itself, but, I don't want to bog down, with telling that long story. We was able to, begin programs. One is, which is in our school-based program, where we do a lot of life skills, leadership, tobacco, marijuana prevention, and mentoring, where we're able to, provide employment for people in the Bay Area that want to touch youth too, right? Spread our wings.
Right.
And we did that for about 5 years, 6 years. And then we're still doing it currently, but then me and Treston got a chance to sink our teeth in our baby, which is this shirt that I'm wearing right here, the Bay Area.
What's that right there?
That's the Bay Area Seminoles, you know what I mean?
The Bay Area Seminoles.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, we said, I think it's time, right? We have the notoriety in the Bay Area for our academic components. Now it's time to use our athletic success to get folks in, so that we can use athletics, our sports, as a tool, as a carrot, to be able to educate our athletes and create student athletes at a younger age, right? So, in addition to the COVID year, but we're going on our 5th year as a sports organization, which I'm proud of, because when we started, we had nothing, and we called upon men and women to support us. Yeah. And with beyond their knowledge, we didn't even have helmets, shoulder pads, or nothing, right? We had people coming in saying, "Yeah, I'm gonna rock with you," to the point that we was like, "Hold on,
how you go?
We gotta get this stuff together."
Right.
I mean, I was asking. I really didn't think that y'all was gonna be on board.
Yeah, y'all was gonna jump in.
I think I was gonna jump in, but the pressure, of just not wanting to disappoint and just wanting to be able to make something amazing allowed us to, start our and we start off with youth football. Mm-hmm. But what many folks don't know is the Seminoles, and the reason why we chose the name Seminoles is because we did our research on how the Indians would take on Black slaves, right? because you had black slaves who wanted to be free, and they would call them maroons, black Indians, and so that they would get citizenship and they would be free, right?
Right.
And so that's the deeper rooted story. But then you have the whole "it takes a village to raise a child" mentality, and so we wanted to name it the Seminoles because we wanted the whole community to be involved, right? We wanted all of Oakland to be involved, all the Bay Area to be involved, all of San Francisco, everywhere to be involved and come into this one place and provide opportunities for all athletes. And we start off with football, but the Seminoles is actually an organization that branches off and is growing into doing every sport that's offered for the youth. We was able to introduce our basketball program last year. This year, unfortunately, we weren't able to do much, and I don't want to speed bump over the fact that many people lost their lives this year. Many people, lost their employment. People lost a lot this year, right? And football, sports, and all that was the last thing that we wanted to put on people's minds or even think about, right? And so, we wanted to make sure that we took a step back this year and made sure that the most important piece is people get healthy, people stay home, people do the right things, and not to knock folks who did stuff, and I think it was necessary because at a certain point our kids are, going crazy in the house, right? And they need to adjust this energy. It's just for us, we just felt like, we want to weigh side on the caution of making sure that our kids stayed healthy, and we just followed, the protocol to the T. And will it hurt you? Probably. It'll hurt you because so many people may leave or go elsewhere because they were doing something when nobody were doing something at all. But I'm willing to take that risk when it comes down to the health of our families and our community. I understand that when you do good things, good people will navigate to that, right?
Right.
So, but we was able to, we were able to have many successful years with We Lead Ours, and we was able to make many relationships. And when I said I was a district baby, my grandfather, not my original grandfather, but my grandmother married again. And my second grandpa, Lewis K. Jones, great man, great mentor. He was with me through all my years growing up as a child, in high school and college, and before he passed away. He was a commissioner of the OAL, the Oakland Athletic League.
Okay.
And so it's funny because, admiring that, going to those games and always being around it, never in a million years did I know that one day I'll get a call to say, hey, man, do you want to help lead the Oakland Athletic League? Do you want to help lead the OAL? That's right. Cool. And so Frankie Navarro, who's the commissioner now, reached out to me just by looking at the good work that we were doing, the honesty that I brought, the integrity that I brought, not really, being able to have the ability to say no, which is hard these days when you are able to stand up for yourself and say, nah, man, I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? Because so many people you looked at as suckers or, man, you a buster. I don't want to hang out with you. You're a sellout. I ain't messing with you. So a lot of people err on the side of pleasing their friends for the sake of just having them around. And I just never was that kind of guy. I was always, I'm going to give you me, 100% of me.
True.
And the people that rock with me will rock with me. The people that isn't, you probably later on down the line was going to have me in a bad position anyway, and you wasn't rocking with me in the first place. So it's like trimming the fat. So he recognized that. And when he got the opportunity to take on the job last year, he called me and was like, Lamont, what you doing? I need you to lead this mission with me, right? I want you to take over all middle school sports.
Wow.
And make it your own. And so immediately I called Dwayne and Tristan and asked them, is it okay, right? Because my obligation is to my brothers.
Yeah, right? Yeah, your brothers in your business, yeah.
My brothers in my business. And so I just, I had a good conversation with them, letting them know, we getting older. They talking about insurance. They talking about retirement. But benefits for the kids.
Right.
But the platform that we'll be able to have is just magnified because now you have someone in a good space that can touch more people. And what I've learned in life is you need to know these big players or become these big players to extend whatever you got going on, right? Whatever business, whatever opportunity that you have, you always want to have these key people in place. Exactly. I.e., not knowing Frankie one day would be a commissioner, not even thinking about that, just being genuine to him. Right. And every day I talk to him and like, bro, I don't even know why you know so many other people outside of me. The fact that you ask me is kind of like I still scratch my head every day, like, man. Why is that? But they blessed me with the chance to be able to say, live your dream, live your dream and do what you need to do. And I took on that opportunity and just took the bull by the horns and just rode it, right? And and just being able to take all the knowledge, all the pain, all the the disappointment, all the success, and put it in a ball, all the experience, and wrap all that up in a ball and be able to use it freely though, right? Like being able to say, not many jobs you get where they're gonna say, do you, right?
Right.
Like, he take all you got and do you.
Dang.
And now, just reshaping something that was in a family, right? It was a family business,
right?
In terms of it felt like I was being molded for this position my whole life. And
you was a kid, man.
And as a kid, just being able to say, I want to take all the kids in Oakland and take care of them.
Yeah.
And someone affording you that opportunity later on down the line to be able to take all the kids in Oakland and at some capacity have an impact and take care of them.
Yeah.
It became a dream come true. So right now I'm just living my dream, man. I got good folks like yourself, good people around me. I got my family, I got my kids, my everyone that's just, you trim the fat, and then at the end of it, you see all the people that is really genuinely on your side, and to be walking with those people in my journey and walking with these people side by side to this day, I'm living the American dream, right? I'm living, people ask me all the time, how you doing? Living the American dream, man. Yeah. I got the ability every day to make my wrongs right, every day, able to apologize, able to, take an idea and put some legs on it, and able to stand up with my head up and knowing that I didn't do it. I didn't cheat it my way through it. Right. I went through it the hard way. Mm-hmm. I went through it the not so traditional way. Mm-hmm. And out of all of that, I was able to come out and say that I'm living the way that I imagined I want to live since I was 10 years old.
Lamont, what I will say is, man, is again, this is, as I wrap it up, the crazy thing about what you're saying, man, is what every other interviewee has said on this podcast is that there's always a process to get to the wins. And even in that process, you're still having small wins along the way. And even the ones that don't even look like they wins, you look back on it, it's like, man, that set me up to actually win. And like, I'm just grateful, man, because, you know, I'm learning that each podcast that I have, there's always a dynamic person that comes on here that I know I'm inspired by, that helps me be able to see things that I couldn't see. And brother, when I tell you, like, I just saw how you moved. I saw that you're an entrepreneur. I knew you were a Trestons boy. I knew that you were a community person because I saw you at Oakland Tech. You know, I mean, at Oakland, all the Oakland schools, which was at Castlemont. And for me, I was like, man, this dude is pretty cool. Like, see, he's with the kids all the time. He played football. You know what I mean? I knew him. I knew all the different people that knew him. And like, to be able to hear the story, man, from when you was a kid to where you are now, what it does is it draws me closer to you as a brother. It makes me respect you even that much more. And it actually makes me protective of you as a community person as well, too. You know what I mean? Because whether, you know, I'm not working in Oakland now, I'm firefighting, or I'm doing a podcast or a brand or whatever, I know I do have a brother I can call on. And that's not even like gassing you up. You know me, man. You know, I'm going to always be genuine. I'm going to always keep it real, be funny as hell. But if we want to be real, bro, like, we want to be real, man. Like, there's not a lot of people that you can come to and say, man, I really mess with dude because I know who he really is to the core. You know what I mean? A lot of people, they may look at my man, this stocky buff dude that just love kids and got a family, man, just, you know, be moving different. But I can find understanding as to why you may move the way that you do. And now, because you are even more, that much more of a, like, you're a public figure pretty much now, man. And you're looked upon, you know, as like that open arms person to the community and say, hey, I got your kids, I got your family, I got you, because you've already been, that was who you was when you was coming up. Right. And so when I see that, man, I love it. I appreciate that. Love that my son, he loves you. I love the fact that I can say, you know, because I don't really let a lot of people, my son, you know me, when I come to my son, I'm play back. But I really appreciate that he respects you for his own self, not just because his dad respects you, but also because his dad respects you. With that being said, man, I am that much more inspired by you. I appreciate your time again because of knowing everybody on the view. Y'all heard all the stuff that this man do and all the stuff that he's been through to get to where he is. I just also am grateful that you've allowed me to have you on the podcast and to just speak openly and candidly about who you are, the things that you're doing, and the impact that you're making on community, your family, and even myself. You know what I mean? So, brother, I appreciate you being on the podcast more than you know, my guy. And viewers, stay tuned because my man's is going to be back again. And we're going to hear about how after this COVID pandemic has died down, how much great work that he's doing, not just with the LAL, but also with the Seminoles, with Willow, and probably got some other things cooking that we don't even know about. So we're going to keep that on the heads, right? But any closing thoughts, my man?
Nah, man, the one thing that comes to my mind is iron sharpens iron, you know, and I appreciate you being comfortable enough to give, you know, someone else, you know, their flowers while they're on this earth. And, but I just want to say to you, man, you know, you inspire me, right? You know, the hunger and the drive that you have to do these things, it lights fires in me. And, you know, how you are with your kids, and, you know, I always want to echo that, being a father, man, and really knowing the importance of what does it mean to be a father to your child. You know, you embody that, you know, doing a lot of stuff that you're doing, man, and just willing to have folks to talk to and listen. Like, our community don't listen no more, right?
Man.
And even when I talk to my son, it's always, I know. I'm like, son, even if you know, listen, right? Just listen. Like, it's so many people who tell me the sky is blue. Okay, I know the sky is blue, but I ain't gonna interrupt you and be like, the sky is blue. I'm gonna be like, okay, cool.
I see that.
I can see that. You know what I'm saying? And so, man, just the fact that you soak in the knowledge and you apply it and you copy and paste, right? You copy and paste. Hey, you copy and paste, man. It's a